My name is Tarun Bhatnagar. I head up our enterprise geospatial sales organization. And one of the first questions I get asked every time I talk to customers is, what is geospatial? I'm sure you guys have different meanings to what you perceive geospatial to be. Some customers think it's location-based services and applications. Others think it's turn-by-turn navigation, what you get in a car or on the P&D devices. And the majority of the companies think it's actually taking complex data and creating location-centric logic against it. Quite frankly, it's all of the above. In the Google world, we simplify that. And in the most simplistic sense, it's the ability for consumers and businesses to truly visualize their world. That's what geospatial is. Maps. Maps have been around since the Babylonian time. In fact, maps are a de facto tool of communication, widely acknowledged, widely accepted, regardless of language and culture. It's the tool that people have used for ages for visualization, for exploration, for discovery, and for progress in civilization. But something interesting happened probably about 15, 20 years ago. The internet came along. And what did it do to maps? Five of you guys have atlases, right? So that's essentially what it did. It really revolutionized the way people used maps. Just like Wikipedia did to the Encyclopedia Britannica, mapping technology did the same thing to atlases. But now it changed the way you had the interaction with a map, and the richness of information that was available to you was absolutely enormous. So the click of a button, I can now look at a digital map and overlay weather information on it. Extremely visual, extremely easy for me to understand what's going on in Europe, for instance. The click of another button, I can search for a city that I care about, that maybe I want to go visit. I can zoom further in, and right there I can get more detail around that city, potentially go to the Tretyakovsky Art Gallery, a very famous art gallery in Moscow. But why stop there? You guys all have your Chromebooks. You can actually use your Chromebooks to actually be there in person, visually, using Street View. A 360-degree depiction of the world around that art gallery. You can maneuver through there, you can see what's happening, you can see what the outside looks like. But I'm not going to stop there. From my spot here, I can actually go inside the gallery, and I can view this painting. World-famous painting known as the Apparition of the Messiah. I can walk through the galleries of the art museum and truly take in what the gallery has to offer me and get an amazing experience just by standing here. The beauty of it, I don't have to go to the Russian consulate, wait in lines for a visa. I don't have to spend time in the cold. So amazing tool. But that's what visualization does for you. And at Google, our core is what we want to do is we want to truly create a visual and a digitized depiction of the world and make it available to consumers and businesses alike. I can explore new places. I can stand here and go to the Colosseum, a world-renowned monument, not only from the outside, but I can actually look at the scale of it from the inside, walk down every hallway, experience it as if I was there, not just through images, through actual navigation. After a rough day of work, if I want a vacation, I can actually escape. I can take a tour of ski resorts in Austria to the lush beaches in Hawaii. I can go anywhere I want. But the beauty is we can actually explore every corner of the world. So I don't know why anyone would want to do this, but you can escape to the peace and tranquil of Antarctica. We just hang out with penguins and ice, and you can go to the hustle and bustle of major metropolitan areas such as New York City. So all that's great. Exterior visualization information, digitized map, all of that's fun. But we don't want to stop there. We want to take that notion indoor. We want to have every corner of the globe covered. So I think some of you sitting up front may not be able to see this, but the before and after is a snapshot of what the San Francisco International Airport used to look like before and what it does after our indoor mapping project. About a year and a half ago, we embarked on a project where we started to map indoor facilities in places like IKEA, major shopping attractions, malls, hotels, and of course the San Francisco International Airport. The blue dot over there represents where you are in the airport. You can track that using a mobile device or a GPS-enabled device. But what you have over here is a clear depiction of what the terminal and gates that you have to go to would look like. So if you think about the notion today, people say we can get you from point A to point B, destination A to destination B. Our goal is we want to get you from door to door, not just from destination to destination. And that's extremely powerful. I frequent Bangkok a lot, and it's one of the most inefficient airports in the world, unfortunately, and I can't wait until we do this because I probably spend 15 to 20 minutes of my life every time I go there just looking for my gate. But extremely useful, extremely valuable to consumers and businesses alike. So how have we done this? Massive infrastructure investment, massive product investment, acquisitions, 200 million active map users on the web, 140 million active map users on mobile devices, and exponentially growing every single day. The amazing thing about our mapping technology and our infrastructure, we spend a lot of money, we spend a lot of resources keeping this up. We have the most comprehensive coverage globally. We also have the most captivating audience globally on our platform. At Google, when we build our maps, there's really 3 core facets that we try to accomplish, 3 core goals that we have. Number 1, we want our map to be comprehensive. Coverage is pretty important. We want that data to be accurate. We want it to truly represent what you see in the world. And most importantly, we want it to be recent and up to date. There's nothing more frustrating than 5-year-old stale data that actually makes no sense to you. We do this multiple ways. So we have a fleet of cars that I'll talk about that build out the product everyone knows about as Street View. We've got key partners that we work with, and my colleague Doug Farber will walk through some of those, some of the images we get from partners like Digital Globe and GeoEye that provide the basis of the tool you guys know as Google Earth. And then we also use the community. So we've got this whole notion of Map Maker. We essentially created a tool where you, from your seat, or anyone, anywhere virtually around the globe, can make a real-time edit to our map and have that be published, moderated, but be published within days and hopefully hours soon. So the best way to understand this is, a couple years ago, we decided to go map Vietnam. And we went to the Vietnamese authorities. We didn't send any resources there. We just actually got a digitized map from Vietnam. This is what Dalat, Vietnam looked like. White space, one highway, probably never need to go there. Not a lot going on, but anyway, we had a community of map enthusiasts, and when we launched Map Maker in Vietnam, this is what the data looked like within days, not weeks. We got that cartography from our consumers. We didn't send a single resource there, and today we boast the most comprehensive and accurate data in Vietnam. MapMaker is now live in over 160 countries around the world. And it's an amazing, amazing tool to help us build scale, help us make sure our data is recent, manageable, and accurate. But we don't stop there. We still use our own resources to enhance that data, to make it richer, to give you those visual depictions, places where you can escape to take your vacations, potentially, if you just want to do it off your laptop. We have a fleet of vehicles with high-end camera equipment that we drive around the road every day to get a digital depiction of the world and create a video archive to truly visualize our globe. But it's not just in cars. We put it on boats to get to hard-to-get places. We put it on trikes to get to monuments where cars aren't allowed. We even put it on snowmobiles. So as of today, we've got roughly 30 countries with Street View around the globe across all 7 continents. So for those of you that are thinking about that, that's Antarctica as well. We actually had the person at Google that runs the entire geospatial organization go to Antarctica, put a camera on his head, and we have Street View of penguins and ice. So if you get a chance, you can go check it out. It's actually pretty cool. So this is all great stuff for the consumers. We've spent enormous amount of resources and time building an amazing experience that consumers have known to love. But one of the things that we've started to embark on over the past few years is bringing that same experience, that same rigor, that same investment to the enterprise side of the world. Geospatial is a huge success amongst most businesses. In fact, 80% of businesses have some location-centric or location-capable needs that they have to manage. And we'll talk to you about some of the use cases and what customers have done. As we enable enterprise, we're able to use our massive popularity. Consumers all around the world use it. We talked about all of India potentially had the ability to download Google Earth. 1.1 billion consumers worldwide, 200 million consumers on maps and growing, as well as mobile. We're the most popular map in the world. We've got enormous scale. 160 plus countries with MapMaker, more countries with maps overall. And we continue to grow that. We've got Street View in almost 30 countries. This is a list of who's who. And these are all Geo customers today. Nike, FedEx, Audi, Crate & Barrel, Intercontinental Hotel Group, Cox Communications, Ace Hardware. The list even gets longer when we expand internationally and go to other countries. Almost all the Fortune 500 companies work with us in the geospatial side of our business. And more businesses are signing up every day to really help them scale their organization. So there's really 3 key benefits that you get from visualizing your world. Number 1, you get to bring your data to life. When your data comes to life, you can make better business decisions in a timely fashion. Number 2, you can optimize your assets, your people, improve efficiency, save money, save cost. Number 3, you can increase your consumer and customer engagement, make more revenue, make more money. Here's an example of a telco that essentially took from their cell tower usage data of all their consumers as well as their mobile devices, created a heat map, and depicted this on a map. Now what's interesting is before this, that data resided in pages and pages and pages worth of spreadsheets. Extremely laborious process to manage. Actually, even if you analyze the data, it probably didn't make any sense. Now, just by looking at this, the telco can sit there and say, where should I put a new cell tower based on usage? Where should I open a new retail store to ensure I can maximize foot flow? Where should I potentially put a billboard, perhaps, to make sure I get the most number of eyeballs to upsell other products? Decisions that you can make quickly and easily, especially if you have archived and historical data that you can store on the cloud. Optimizing people and assets, DHL, I'm sure most of you know about them. They've been a great customer of ours for the past 2 to 3 years. And what they've done is they've actually used our asset tracking products. DHL, in an effort to optimize their delivery, decided to essentially equip all their delivery folks with asset tracking devices, track them every single minute, and manage the workflow orders of them to make sure that packages were delivered on time. They took it one step further. They actually made that data available to their consumers. So now for a consumer, it was easy for them to log on and know exactly where en route their package was. Instead of waiting hours for time-sensitive critical information, that wait for consumers was down to minutes, potentially even seconds. So amazing. The other thing that we've seen is increasing consumer engagement. The Intercontinental Hotel Group has been a customer of ours for a couple of years. And what they decided to do was simplify the overall web-based booking experience. So Make My Trip has done something similar. Thank you for being a customer. They essentially provided search criteria for customers to plan their bookings. So when you travel to a faraway place and you get a list of addresses, it actually makes no sense to you. You have no idea where you are. You have no idea what that address means. But when you take that data and display it on a map, and you have the ability to visualize that and simplify that data, it makes a lot of sense to you. What's interesting is the IHG Group did this, and within months of launching the Maps API Premier, in countries like UK and Denmark, they saw a 35% increase in their overall conversion. Enormous, significant increase in the overall engagement that they see on their site. And that's essentially what you want as a business. So if we look at what our future holds, we've got a lot of customers that use a lot of our products today in the geospatial side. Number 1, we want to create collaboration. We want to make sharing of information across workers easy and accessible. We want to have them be able to share mapping data. Number 2, we want to make that information available anywhere, anytime, off of any device that they can have access to. And finally, we want to simplify the ecosystem. We want to bring the ability to manage that data and visualize that data to the masses, not just to the GIS department. Simplify the overall experience, use it more. So let's take an example of what this could potentially look like down the road. We talked to a couple utility companies, probably 4 or 5 around the world. And I'm not a utility expert. Well, one of the things they told me is if a tree outgrows a utility asset, they have to manage that tree growth. They have to predict when it's going to grow there, what the impact is going to be to the power lines, what the outage is going to be, and they're going to have to manage that entire ecosystem. And majority of the companies said they spend well north of hundreds of millions of dollars a year on vegetation management. It's a lot of money, just for trees. And part of the problem was, it was the process that they had to go through. Number 1, they had to predict what a tree growth would look like. Number two, they had to go there and send someone to survey the data. Number three, if there was a problem, they had to send someone to fix the data. Number four, someone had to go and audit it. Five, someone had to come back and report it. And it keeps going on, just multiple steps. And there was no way to automate this process. And what both of these organizations are going to do is try to automate that process and reduce the number of steps to help them save millions of dollars annually. So let's take a sample over here. This is the ecosystem that we envision, and it would be available over the next quarter or so. So let's say you have a problem with your infrastructure network. You view it on Google Earth. You actually go down and you realize it's in Bangalore. You narrow down the problem, the infrastructure issue that you have with one of your utility poles or assets. As you further zoom in, the command unit can realize that the affected area happens to surround, let's say, 2 hotels that you have a premium relationship with, that are highly valuable customers to you, and if there's an outage, it would be incredibly expensive for you guys as well. What the command units can do is, if the entire worker staff's equipped with iPhones or Android devices or smartphones, they can use our asset tracking tools to potentially see what field unit is closest to wherever the problem is. Right away, they can actually deploy the task from data that's residing on our geospatial cloud to that mobile device. On that mobile device, they can tell them, here's where the problem is, here's what the image is of what the problem looks like, here's what the image should look like of when it's fixed, and here's where you need to go. And here's the team of folks that'll arrive there. The team that gets to work actually goes out, and the service team arrives right away because they were in the neighborhood. They were pretty close by, potentially getting there before the hotel even notices there was an outage or an issue. Now let's take a scenario over here. They get to the hotel and they realize that there's an obstruction that I need to overcome to the asset that I need to fix. In real time, we talked about MapMaker. In real time, they can actually make edit to that data that's residing in their private instance of the cloud that we have and really make those changes so that people in the future can leverage that change. They can actually take a snapshot of the work that's done and also store that in the cloud to deem the order and the problem to have been resolved. But what's more impressive is, so first of all, it just went down from 5 to 7 steps that we talked about, potentially to 1 to 2 steps. But what's more impressive is you've essentially created a live knowledge base of data and information on the cloud that you probably didn't have the ability to do so in the past. It would have been laborious, it would have been a lot of work, it would have had to been managed offline with a lot of paperwork. And now you have the ability to create this collaborative environment with richness of data that's available to all. So the goal for us is we want to be able to provide you a full solution from start to finish. We have a full stack of geospatial products. I encourage you to talk to one of us after this presentation or tonight at dinner. We'll walk you through the overwhelming number of APIs and products and features that we have that can really cater to your specific needs. Everything from a platform, Maps API, Google Earth, Earth Builder, the rich data that we collect, we walk through how we collect that. The APIs, we've got some of the most used APIs globally, easy to access, easy to manage. And then it works everywhere. Because it's based on the cloud, it works everywhere on every device, anytime you need. So we're going to continue to innovate. We're not going to stop. In fact, we're starting to see some very, very cool things happen in the market. So restaurant owners, for example, have taken to using Google Places, for instance, using our rating system, having unbiased consumer ratings be available to consumers so that people can view what that restaurant or understand what that restaurant experience may be like. Furthermore, we talked about indoor street view. It's essentially being able to take your own camera and create a 360-degree depiction and view of your restaurant so people can actually have a better sense of the ambiance of the restaurant potentially before they get there, as opposed to looking at static images. This is a cool example. Tesla. Have you guys heard of Tesla? The all-electric vehicle that's launching in the US. It's been launched and they're launching a new model. What they've done is they've announced a 17-inch monitor, a console in the middle of their car, and half of it is Google Maps. But their use case is the fact that they said the richness and the experience that consumers have on the web and on mobile devices is essentially the same experience they want to bring to their consumers in the car. So we're going to continue to push the envelope. We're going to continue to work with enterprises and businesses alike to understand their use cases, create better products, bringing that overall consumer experience that we've done so well into the enterprise stack. So if you haven't already done so, I would encourage you to talk to our geospatial organization. I'm sure that a lot of you can benefit from those 3 key points we talked about. Bringing your data to life to make decisions quicker, optimizing your business and increasing efficiency, and really increasing your customer engagement. So one of the questions I ask you is, have you truly discovered where your data can take you? So thank you very much.